Hello, my name is Evenor and today we're going to compare the different acidities of citrus fruits. The group members are going to be me, Spencer, and Blessing. You can see their last names in the slide if you want to. So basically, acidity is how acid something is. Now, an acid is anything that gives up a hydrogen ion and it gives it to another substance. Usually, the latter means a base. Now, all citrus fruits contain ascorbic acid, which is vitamin C. There is a proportional relationship between the acidity and the concentration of ascorbic acid. The higher the concentration of ascorbic acid, the more acidic it is. Now, for the purposes of this experimentation, we're going to be using the pH scale from 0 to 14. There is one that is 1 to 14, but we're going to be using 0 to 14 here, where anything below 7, which is neutral and usually means water, is an acid. Below 7 is an acid, and anything above 7 is a base. So our hypothesis is that lime will be the most acidic, orange will be the least acidic, and lemon will be among the middle. Um, Now, the reason why we think that is lime is usually very bitter and sour, and particularly sourness is usually associated with acidity, while lemon, it is very sour. I mean, it can be a little bit sour as well, but there is a sweetness to it compared to lime, which is more bitter. Orange is very similar. It has a very sweet taste to it, but it's definitely less bitter than, much less bitter than lime. And we think it'll be the least acidic of the three of them. And therefore it should be higher on the pH scale because of it. Now, for the purpose of the project, we're gonna need only 3 citrus fruits, which would be lemon, lime, and oranges, because we can find them in basically any store in almost every country, essentially. Now we're also going to need litmus paper, which will be used to find the pH of the citrus fruits. Now, in order to use some litmus paper, we're going to have to rub the paper on the fruits themselves. We're going to have to cut through the interior, like the picture you see here, so that we can get a color. Now, usually, in the pH scale, from like 0 to 1, 1 to 2, it's very red, and then 2 to 3, 3 to 4, it's orange. So that's what we're probably going to be looking for, and then we're going to compare the colors to see how acidic they may be, and that'll be in the results. So this is simply the process of how we're going to do the experiment. So if I'm going to take the materials to a room, we're going to cut a knife through the interior of the citrus fruit, then rub the litmus paper gently across the interior, and then wait for a color to appear after 30 seconds. We're going to use that color to compare to the colors in the pH scale to test how acidic it is, but in whole integers, like a range of whole integers, because one of the limitations of litmus paper is that you can't necessarily use decimals for a pH. That would require more advanced instruments, and we're not using it here. And then, well, since we're doing all three, we're gonna have to do the process 3 times. And if the color of 2 liquid sheets are very similar, we will observe very carefully which one is darker than the other, which will help us determine which has a lower pH. So here we have 2 pictures. So to the left, we have a sliced orange after we cut through the interior. The second picture shows the litmus paper of the orange after we rubbed it in the interior of the orange in the first place. As you can see, the litmus paper is orange, which means that it isn't the most acidic, but it still is clearly acidic because it's below the 7. It's probably around 3, 4, or 5, around that range or so. So here we have a picture of a sliced lemon on the left, and then on the right we have a picture of litmus paper of lemon after we rubbed it on the interior of the lemon, shown to the left. Now, you can see here that the litmus paper, the lemon, has a very reddish color, so it is clearly very acidic. And as a matter of fact, it's more acidic than the orange is. It should be around 0, 1, or 2 on the litmus scale. Now, over here we have a slice of lime to the left, and then a litmus paper of lime to the right. Now, just like the lemon, the litmus paper of lime, it has a very reddish color to it, which means that it's extremely acidic, around the 0 and 1, 2 range from the pH scale from 0 to 14. So, but how are we going to be able to distinguish between the two? Well, we're going to find that out later. So here we have the data results. So we have a chart. Now the categories would be, you have the citrus fruits to the left, the pH range, the color, and then we have like from lightest, middle, or darkest. So basically we're testing out the brightness of the three colors. Now, although it appears that lemon and lime are basically the same, exact the same, that's actually not the case. Now they are very similar in acidity, but they're not the same. If you look closer to the pictures, lime has a slightly redder hue compared to lemon, because lemon seems to have a hint of orange to it when you look a bit closer. So, although they are around the same pH range, which is 0 to 1, um, lime is actually the darkest, so therefore it's lower on the pH scale, meaning that it's a little bit more acidic than lemon. Now, before we did the conclusion and analysis, we did the experiment completely again. And to the right, it shows the results of that experiment, that second experiment. Now, from left to right, we have the litmus papers for lime, lemon, and orange, respectively. And it actually confirms our results from the last slide. Lime has the lowest pH, so it's the most acidic. Lemon, it's close to lime, has a pH close to lime, but it has a pH a little bit higher because it has a slightly lighter hue to it, an orangey hue, as a matter of fact. So it actually, like in conclusion, our hypothesis was correct that lime was going to be the most acidic because of its sourness. Lemon came in at a close second. We predicted that because it usually is a little bit sweeter, you know, than lime. And orange is the least acidic as it has a pH much closer to 7, around 2 to 3 because of the orange color that it has to it. Now there are ways that we could improve this project the next time we do it. The first thing is to get special equipment like a pH meter to get the pH of the citrus fruits more effectively and also more accurately, because one of the experiment's limitations was that we had to use decimals because the litmus paper only gave us the color and it was in an approximation of the pH, which is why we were only able to give a range, and why in order to deduce which of the two citrus fruits, lemon and lime, had the lower pH, we had to actually use whole integers. Now another thing is that we could actually do the experiment with several of each of the fruits. So to see if the results will be exactly the same, because some fruits they might have a little more acid than others. So you want to account for that the next time we do this experiment. These are just simply all the sources of the project, but in URL form. In case you want them, we have 4 of them right here. I want to give my special thanks to Joseph because even though he did not do any of the experiment or PowerPoint, quick disclaimer, he did give me a lot of helpful ideas and alternatives of how to do the project. I want to thank Coach Scott because not only is he my chemistry teacher, but he linked a lot of helpful videos to do the presentation, and also my group members, which includes me, Spencer, and Blessing, because we did the experiments and we did, pretty good PowerPoint. I'd say so myself.